Hello, everybody. Now that I'm done working out, and as I was working out, I had time to think about something. The Grace Evangelical Society, which is a major free grace organization, as well as Jimmy Swaggart, the infamous adulterous preacher from the 1980s, who at one time had 500 million people watching him, share something in common. And I've actually experienced this at a church I previously attended where, albeit the belief is stated in the resurrection, there is virtually no application or practicality for the resurrection applied to one's life. And what I find very interesting in the case of Swaggart or the GES is they do the same error. On the one hand, though they state a belief in it, and often emphatically so, if you listen to Jimmy Swaggart's preaching, it's predominantly Romans chapters 6 through 8 with his very particular bent or slant on it, often ignoring very key passages in the text which either contradict his private interpretation, his alleged message of the cross he received in 1997 about Jesus being the crucified Christ, as he would say. And on the other hand, the Grace Evangelical Society will say, well, we emphatically embrace the Nicene and Apostles' Creed. We believe in the Orthodox Nicene Trinity, but the idea of the resurrection of Christ, though we really, really think you should believe that, they typically reject the notion that you must believe that, even though, since they reference the Nicene Creed or the Apostles' Creed, that each state a belief in the resurrection, in the life to come. You must believe that in order to be a Christian. It does make me wonder, especially in the GES's case, if you could be a Christian and say that. Jack Smack infamously has said for years, from his Saved Peter Denied the Resurrection video and onward. Actually, no, even Peter himself, Saint Peter, rejected the resurrection, and he's still going to heaven because of this OSAS perversion. On the other hand, Jimmy Swaggart says so very little about the resurrected Christ that he almost never references it, he or his cadre of preachers. In the church I previously attended, they had a quite similar problem. The notion of saying, oh no, I disbelieve in the resurrection. You couldn't say that there. You would be probably cast out of church more than likely. And it's very likely that you would have just washed out anyhow from that particular church on the one hand. But on the other hand, there was very little preaching about Christ's resurrection, and there was very little practical application in the time that I was there for about a half a decade, where they consistently applied or even preached Christ resurrected. It was a lot of Christ crucified, though very inconsistently. On the one hand, you have someone who overemphasizes the crucifixion and downplays sin to the point where he's basically a raging Pelagian in the form of Jimmy Swaggart. On the other side, you have the Grace Evangelical Society. This is like a liberal organization would say, well, no, belief in the resurrection is unrequired. You really should do that, but you don't have to do that. I think one is an error. It's a dangerous error on the part of Jimmy Swaggart. The other is an error that makes me wonder how you could possibly be a Christian if you can reject the resurrection. Normally, the only Christian theologians who embrace such a belief, or I guess lack of belief, would be liberals. It's usually the liberal mainline scholars from the Episcopalians, the liberal Presbyterians, the liberal Anglicans, the liberal Baptists, the liberal charismatic / Pentecostals and evangelicals, the liberal Methodists, etc., etc. What is so very interesting to me is that you have two organizations that, although they believe radically different things, and one would mathematize the other, make an incredibly similar error. I don't encourage you to listen to Jimmy Swaggart's preaching, at least his recent preaching, but it's all over the place. If you want to find it from their Sun Life Broadcasting Network, you can do that. They don't really talk about the resurrection too much. They don't talk about the application of the resurrection. It's not really a subject in their preaching, despite one of their favorite texts being 1 Corinthians 15. They very selectively preach that passage. They very selectively read that passage. On the other hand, you have the Grace Evangelical Society that would excoriate any liberal for rejecting the resurrection, for calling it the things that a lot of the liberal scholars do, for trying to promote swoon theory and other ridiculous theories to rebuff the resurrection. Yet, like a liberal, they don't think you need to believe in it. They don't think it matters, really. It's astonishing, isn't it? The Apostles' Creed is very clear. And let me grab my Book of Common Prayer, since we got a good version of that here. Let's see if I can do this without cascading these books all over the place. Or maybe I can use this. No, I need the prayer book, not that. Here we go. Let me find it, because I'm not remembering precisely where this would be in the good old BCP. Come now. Where is the Nicene in here? Here we go. $766. So let's see. Here we go. It is awkward to navigate through this. Okay, let's see. The Nicene Creed. We got the Athanasian. The Articles of Religion. I may have to amend this when I'm done, and I won't be long. I don't plan on it. So as to put them in the comments or the descriptions. But they state very, very clearly, which the GES claims they believe in, and to some level Jimmy Swaggart, but he does partially reject the Nicene Creed, that, oh, I thought I lost my place. Sorry about that. He does partially believe in the Nicene Creed, but he rejects major aspects of it. So it's a questionable thing if he believes in it anyway. But it is interesting that they both do this, to my mind. I don't understand how you can read the Nicene Creed, especially when it speaks about the resurrection, claim you believe in it, then do everything you can to eradicate it. I don't think those people who would believe in this way are Christians. They're going to then try to accuse you of works. I would simply retort, listen, You can't buy the Dodge Ram TRX and then buy it without a transmission. That's 700 horsepower you've got under your hood. That's a lot of horsepower. You can't do anything with that horsepower if you don't have a transmission. Effectively, that is what these people are doing to Christianity. Well, y'all have a lovely night.